How did it go?
I didn't feel anything.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And does anybody remember when YouTube used to look like this? So back in 2005, YouTube became a platform where people would upload fun videos and quickly became the hottest website on the internet. This new social media platform helped revolutionize the entertainment landscape and change the way we interact with one another online. And a lot of the videos that blew up and went viral back in the early years were super cringeworthy and different from what we're used to seeing nowadays. This was way back in the era where there was no try-hard influencers, no commentators, no beauty gurus, no gamers, just normal people doing regular everyday activity on the internet. People really didn't try hard back then to be seen. They just uploaded these homemade videos and would just go viral overnight. What a time to be alive. You just really had to be there. This was really the golden era of the internet culture, in my opinion. As internet personalities and social media were on the rise, many TV shows and movies were also trying to emulate the growing internet trends at the time to reflect the content people were actually watching online. Honestly, there was one show, in my opinion, that perfectly captured the idea of what internet fame and virality was like during this era, and that show was iCarly. iCarly was a hit TV show that aired on Nickelodeon between the years 2007 and 2012 and was a massive success, becoming Nickelodeon's most popular live-action show to date. Being on the air for a total of 6 seasons, the show received millions of weekly viewers as well as winning several awards over the years. The show explored themes of internet culture and content creation at a time when YouTube was still in its infancy. iCarly was a show unlike anything we had ever seen before on television, as it integrated internet culture, virality, and memes into a comedy series. The show also had these segments where fans would submit videos of themselves on the actual Nickelodeon website being featured in different episodes, which was pretty cool at the time. And this concept made the show super unique, allowing fans to be even more connected to the series. Let's keep it real, iCarly paved the way for a lot of modern-day content creators and influencers that we see today on many different platforms. Because of this aspect, the show is regarded as one of the most influential children's shows of all time. So iCarly was created and executively produced by He Who Shall Not Be Named. I seriously can't believe he was allowed to work for Nickelodeon for so long, but that's for another video for another day. So He Who Shall Not Be Named created some of the biggest live-action shows for the network, including The Amanda Show, Zoe 101, Drake and Josh, Victorious, Henry Danger, iCarly, and many more. And iCarly would end up being his most successful show for Nickelodeon. A few short years before starring in iCarly, Miranda Cosgrove actually made her big screen debut in School of Rock alongside Jack Black, and then later the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh, where she played Megan Parker, the sneaky little sister who would constantly harass and prank her brothers on every episode. And I really loved that show growing up, but I'll save that for another video sometime in the future. Moving forward, after starring in other hit Nickelodeon shows, Miranda Cosgrove got to lead her own show on Nickelodeon called iCarly, where she played the main character Carly Shay. So iCarly was a show about a girl named Carly Shay who hosted a live web show with her friends every week in their apartment building. Their web show becomes an instant success overnight with millions of weekly viewers who tune in to watch their wacky shenanigans of the iCarly gang. The friend group juggles their newfound success from being normal everyday teens to being internet famous. And this was actually a really creative concept for a kids show that we had never seen before on television. There were a lot of shows on Disney and Nickelodeon around this time that revolved around being famous or making it big in the industry. We had shows about kids going to performing arts schools, living a double life as a pop star, trying to be a pop star, and getting casted on a TV series. Disney Channel also had a few iCarly copycats years later that just weren't as good or memorable. And iCarly stood out amongst these shows being super unique and feeling more relatable than the others despite being a silly kids sitcom. Speaking of, I know it's a cheesy kids show, but when you think of it, their web show was actually really bad and cringe. And if this were real life, kids would roast them at school and on the internet for their show just being lame and cringe. But that's how the internet was around this time, lame, cringe, and over the top. There's even a scene in the I Start a Fan War episode where Carly says that their web show is just a silly, dumb comedy, all for fun and games, which just shows how aware the show writers are. On their web show, they do a wide variety of bits including games, pranks, challenges, skits, and my favorite, favorite, random dancing. And for a show that came out in the late 2000s, the internet jokes and references actually hold up really well. Side note, the show has a lot of adult humor and feet jokes which are really inappropriate for a kid's show. I'm actually surprised they got away with a lot of these jokes.
Watch me spank your daddy! I don't need this bag of ice in my pants!
Disgusting!
Yeah, he who shall not be named was a really messed up individual. Like I said earlier, Carly, played by Miranda Cosgrove, is the main character of the show. She's your average main character with a pretty generic but likable personality. So Carly is intelligent, witty, charismatic, basically the kind of person your parents want you to be friends with. And she often tends to be the voice of reason as well as the leader role for her friend group. People usually consider her to be a positive role model on the show. Her two best friends, Sam and Freddie, also help her with her web show. They are both complete opposites from each other, always constantly bickering and going back and forth throughout the show's run. And they later fall in love and become a couple, which was just so forced just for the sake of characters getting together. But anyways, Freddie Benson, played by Nathan Kress, was the somewhat dorky next-door neighbor to Carly and Spencer. He was the main guy friend of Carly and Sam in the show. Throughout the show, he has a big crush on Carly, especially in the earlier seasons. Freddie served as their technical producer for their web show. He was the videographer, editor, graphic designer, and even ran their website. He literally was the backbone of iCarly, if we're being honest. And I really don't know what kind of allowance money he was getting to afford all of the equipment, but homeboy was really putting in that work at age 13. Sam Puckett, on the other hand, played by Jeanette McCurdy, was the more outspoken and blunt member of the friend group. She is Carly's best friend and frenemy to Freddie, as she usually bullies and harasses him throughout the show's run. It's actually pretty funny. Her troubled home life is reflected in her behavior, as we can see throughout the show. So Sam is loud, aggressive, lazy, and loves fried chicken. She also loves to carry around a butter sock just in case something pops off, you know what I mean? She usually shows up to Carly's apartment unannounced, ready to eat and just hang out. Despite being a bit of a troublemaker, she really balances out the friend group as the most interesting and creative member of the trio. Sam is the most well-rounded character in the series in my opinion, and probably the most favorite if you ask any fan of the show. So Spencer Shea, played by Jerry Trainer, has to be the funniest character in the iCarly universe in my opinion. Spencer is Carly's older brother and primary caretaker. After 3 days of being a law school student, he pursues a career as an eccentric artist making all kinds of unique sculptures. Side note, I just always found it so interesting how he was able to afford a 3-story apartment with the elevator as an artist. But anyways, I'm sure his parents help out, who knows? The show never really explains it actually. Spencer is always down to help his sister and his friends with their web show and sometimes features in them. There's also this running gag in the show where things just magically catch on fire whenever he's around. It's honestly just so random and so funny at the same time. Another notable character in the show is Gibby, who is a weird kid and friend to the iCarly gang. He's usually seen shirtless and dancing around, just always being the life of the party. Every scene he's in is just so hilarious. He's just such a funny, goofy, lovable character. iCarly also had a wide variety of recurring side characters that were all just so iconic and memorable. You had characters like Lubert, the crazy front desk concierge guy, Miss Benson, who was Freddie's overprotective helicopter mom, Tebow, the goofy but lovable friendly smoothie owner, and the only black character on the show. And my favorite side character, Neville. So Neville was this kid who had a blog where he would just trash all kinds of web shows, similar to Perez Hilton at the time. And throughout the show, he tried ruining and ending the iCarly show, all because he got rejected by Carly way back in season 1. And Neville has to be the funniest side character in the show to me, especially whenever he would say, "You're gonna ruin the day." He was just so funny. I love Neville. I wish he was on the show a little bit more, but that's another video for another day. We also have to mention Nora, who kidnapped the iCarly gang twice in the I Psycho and the I Still Psycho special episodes. The fact that she was able to capture them twice is just so funny to me. Like many hit sitcoms, iCarly iCarly had its fair share of celebrity guest appearances, including Victoria Justice, Jack Black, First Lady Michelle Obama, Jane Lynch from Glee, Cord Overstreet from Glee, Harry Shum Jr. also from Glee. They had a lot of people from Glee on this show. I never noticed that until making this video. You also had people like David Archuleta, One Direction, the Plain White T's, Elvis, and even Fred, who was a big deal on YouTube at the time. Victoria Justice guest starred twice on the show as Shelby Marks, a professional MMA fighter, and Tori Vega alongside the rest of the cast of Victorious. Speaking of, iCarly and Victorious actually had a crossover special that was, it was underwhelming. I really liked the idea of having these two shows come together. I just hated the plot of Tori and Carly's boyfriend cheating on both of them, only to be exposed on a live taping of the web show. Like seriously, they couldn't think of a better way to get the characters together. The characters barely interacted in the crossover, which was just a big missed opportunity. Like imagine Sam and Jade teaming up, or maybe Robbie and Freddie, you know, something. They just didn't give us that in this crossover, which I thought was really weird. Yeah, it was just a big missed opportunity. But on a good note, we did get a mashup at the end where the two shows sang a medley of the theme songs, just iconic. iCarly ended back in 2012, breaking the record for Nickelodeon's most watched finale ever. I'm sure that record will be broken soon whenever SpongeBob decides to finally end after all of these years. It's been going on for way too long, but that's also another video for another day. Since the end of iCarly, Nickelodeon created a spin-off series called Sam and Cat that had fan favorites from both iCarly and Victorious. So Sam moved to LA and became roommates with Kat and her grandmother, where the two started a babysitting business together for whatever reason. And if I'm being honest, this show was truly awful and forgettable. There's no redeeming qualities to how bad it was.
Oh my God! Is this who we are?
Fast forward to 2021, almost a decade since the original show ended, they decided to bring back iCarly on the streaming platform Paramount Plus and went on for a total of 3 seasons. And this show was, it's okay. If it didn't exist, we'd be okay. Mostly everyone from the original cast returned, including Jerry Trainer, Nathan Kress, and Miranda Cosgrove. And let's keep it real, if Jerry Trainer didn't return as Spencer, the show wouldn't have made it past season 1 because Carly and Freddie are como se dice, bland and kind of dull, if you catch my drift. Jeanette McCurdy, the actress who played Sam, unfortunately didn't return due to the abuse and trauma she experienced in her iCarly days as a child actress. She actually talks in detail about her crazy momager in her book, which I hear is good, so I might have to read that one of these days. All in all, iCarly was a groundbreaking show and a staple of Nickelodeon, becoming their most popular show next to SpongeBob. The show came out in a time where virality and internet fame were a fairly new concept that hadn't been explored or seen on television. This was definitely one of my favorite shows growing up, and to see its impact on pop culture years later is honestly really amazing and impressive, especially for a children's show. iCarly was definitely a one-of-a-kind show that left its mark on an entire generation of up-and-coming content creators and influencers all over various social media platforms. And that's why I still think to this day iCarly is one of the best shows to come from Nickelodeon from the 2000s. It's definitely a show that people still reference and mention today. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate you all. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, thumbs up, share, and feel free to subscribe for more fun. Also, check out my other great videos just like this.